1,000 years ago, Indian warships sailed beyond the horizon. They conquered kingdoms. They built empires. Your history books forgot them. In the 11th century, the Chola Empire was not just a kingdom, it was an ocean-spanning civilization. From their heartland in Tamil Nadu, the Cholas had already mastered the art of maritime trade and naval warfare. Their temples still stand in the south, carved with stories of ships and seafaring merchants. But by 1025 CE, a young king named Rajendra Chola I looked at his father's empire and asked a dangerous question: what lies beyond what we already control? His answer would reshape the Indian Ocean itself. Rajendra inherited an empire that was wealthy but restless. The Chola treasury overflowed with riches from trade, spices, textiles, gems flowed through Tamil Nadu's ports like sacred rivers. But wealth alone does not satisfy an ambitious king. To the east, across the Bay of Bengal, lay kingdoms unknown to Indian conquest. There were the Srivijaya Empire in Sumatra, powerful maritime kingdoms that controlled trade routes and demanded tribute from passing merchants. There were kingdoms in Java, in Cambodia, in Thailand, rich, uncontrolled, unreachable by land. Rajendra understood something most rulers missed: the future belonged not to those who conquered deserts, but to those who commanded the seas. He ordered his generals to prepare the largest naval expedition the world had ever seen. This was not a trade mission. This was war. And it would require an armada of warships larger than any Indian fleet before it. Around 1025 CE, Rajendra Chola's navy departed from the ports of Tamil Nadu. We do not know the exact number of ships, historians debate whether it was dozens or hundreds, but the scale was unprecedented. The fleet carried soldiers, commanders, supply vessels, and siege weapons designed for naval combat. For months, these ships sailed through the Bay of Bengal. They faced monsoon storms that tested the limits of ancient Indian shipbuilding. They navigated by stars, by the sun, by the knowledge of sailors who had learned their craft across generations. The first target was the Srivijaya Empire. Rajendra's forces struck with overwhelming force. They captured the Srivijaya capital region of Palembang. But they did not stop there. The fleet pushed further, to the Andaman Islands, which the Cholas renamed after themselves, establishing military garrisons. They sailed to the coast of Burma, then to the Malay Peninsula, then to the kingdoms of Thailand and Cambodia. One inscription from that era describes Rajendra's achievement with simple power: he conquered the Southern Ocean itself. Cities that had never seen an Indian warrior suddenly bowed to Chola authority. Tributes poured back to Tamil Nadu: gold, ivory, exotic woods, and most importantly, recognition. Rajendra had proven that Indian power could project itself across water as mightily as across land. He renamed himself Rajendra Chola the Great. He had earned it. No king before him had conquered so far. No navy matched his reach. History was rewritten in blood and salt. Rajendra's dominion did not last forever. Empires carved from conquest are difficult to hold. By the 12th century, local kingdoms reasserted independence. Srivijaya recovered. Trade patterns shifted. The great Chola navy eventually faded into memory. But what Rajendra achieved in those few years between 1025 and 1030 CE was extraordinary. He established Indian naval supremacy across the entire Indian Ocean. He created a trade network that made Tamil Nadu the crossroads of the Eastern world. He inspired centuries of Indian maritime ambition. In Southeast Asian temples, Chola architectural styles appear because Chola kings built them. In ancient Tamil inscriptions, the names of Southeast Asian kingdoms are recorded because Rajendra's expedition documented them. The Cholas even established a military outpost called Nagapattinam that became a center of Buddhist learning and trade for centuries. This was soft power before the term existed. This was cultural conquest through commerce and faith. When Rajendra died, he left behind an empire that had touched more coastlines than any Indian ruler before him. Why does this story matter today? Because we have been told that India is a land power. That our strength lies in our philosophy, our spirituality, our continental reach. And those things are true. But we have forgotten something crucial: for nearly 2,000 years, Indian merchants and warriors commanded the seas. The spice routes of the Indian Ocean were Indian routes. Southeast Asia was not colonized by Indians, it was connected to Indians through mutual respect, shared faith, and profitable trade. When the Portuguese arrived in 1498 under Vasco da Gama, they were not discovering a new world. They were invading a world where Indian ships had already sailed for 1,000 years. Modern India is rebuilding its maritime presence. Today, when we speak of Indian naval power, when we talk about trade corridors and shipping lanes, we are not creating something new, we are remembering something ancient. Rajendra Chola understood what modern strategists are learning again: the future belongs to those who command the waters. And India was commanding them when the world was still medieval. This is a story your textbook skipped. Subscribe to uncover more chapters of Indian history they never taught you. Bharat's past holds lessons the world needs to hear.